everyone. Welcome back to the group. Hi. I'm Rachel Arazo, your intuitive divination mentor and intuitive business coach. And we are continuing with the 10 Tell Curtain 5-Day Mindset Challenge today. Let me make sure that we've got sound and everything is working. And I shall pull up comments. Whoa. Here we go. Yep, it's working. Woo! As long as it's working. That's all that really matters. So I want to congratulate those of you, especially that are going through this kind of challenge for the first time and that are actually putting in the work, and you are being general badasses about this, because we're officially halfway through. We've been doing so much inner work, and it's been absolutely amazing. I know that when you go through something like this and you really dedicate yourself to putting aside the time, making the results, and working yourself through it, it's totally worth it. And I can already feel that the energy is growing in the group already. And it's absolutely amazing. And I love how many of you are actually sharing, and you're actually showing what you've been doing with the work you're doing. It makes me happy. It makes me beyond happy. Awesome. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Denise. Yes, it is. Yes. yes. The hair is a thing today. Whatever. Hair is a thing today. Awesome. So yesterday, we really focused on creating your planning ritual, right? Getting really intimate with your numbers. Was there anything that you learned yesterday by putting it into that perspective of, if there's a certain amount of money that you want to make per month, then how many people do you need to sign, and what actions do you need to take? Was there anything that helped shift that for you? Because I would love to know if this is actually benefiting you. Hair has a life as its own. I know, right? Like, this is why I don't hardly ever do anything to my hair. That's why like half of one side is super curly and the other half is like flat. Except for back there. Back there it's curly, but whatever. Show up as you are. Not every day do you have to be perfect. Even when your hair is being funky. But let me know in the comments, even if you're watching the replay, if anything helped shift for you, because I really do want to know. Hi, Rebecca. I hope you're doing wonderful today. Okay, so today is all about boundaries, because we can create the rituals all we want. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for coming back. So happy to have you here in the group and here on the live stream. Hi, Brenda. Wonderful. We have people coming in. Yay. I love talking to you guys and getting your questions live and being sure that you get the support you need now. So the big thing about why are we setting boundaries, right? Well, obviously, if we were to set boundaries everywhere else, like if you have a house and you put up that fence so your neighbor's dog doesn't come in, that you're setting a boundary, right? But when it comes to your time, it's something a little bit more intangible, and it's something that can be easily not as firm as putting up a fence or a brick wall and things like that. Yay, catching me live. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Anna. Yay! We have all our people here. It makes me so happy. All sorts of things are shifting for me. Woo! I want to see those shifts. Those shifts are wonderful. Garen says, if I get organized, I don't need to be actively working with clients as much as I thought. Mind blown. Right? You don't have, like, especially if you're coming from that point of view of you used to work so much when you were younger, or like, I know my family, the way that I grew up, just backstory. I love giving backstory because I want you to know where I'm coming from. I grew up with the African-American side of my family here in the U.S., and my grandmother's grandfather, so my great-great-grandfather, actually bought his way from slavery down in North Carolina. So my family, I feel like it's just been this karmic thing of, instead of getting the desk jobs, instead of sitting down and working customer service or working in call centers or doing quote unquote easy work, they always did the back-breaking jobs. They would rather heavy lift something than sit down and have it be quote unquote easy. Even now, my grandparents are retired. They owned a catering business here in Colorado Springs, Bernie's Kicks and Catering, for like 25, 30 years. They've been retired since 2009, and my grandmother still breaks her back. Okay, they still go to the flea market and sell stuff. They owned a hookah shop for a good minute and did all the heavy lifting there, and it was ridiculous. But I know, like, when you put it into perspective of this is how much money I need to make, and this is how many people I need to work with in order to get there, it makes it so you don't have to break your back. And it feels kind of funky because you're like, but I'm not breaking my back and I'm not putting in the quote unquote hard work. You are, it's just a different type of work. And it makes it so, like, you're wondering, why are you stressing out so much about it, when really it can be very easy when you put it in that perspective. So that's a wonderful point. I'm glad you mentioned that, Karen. Hi, Caitlin. Awesome. So, and that brings it in, that kind of talks about with boundaries today. So, like, how many of you give me hearts or likes if you have said, today I'm sitting down and working on my business. I am taking photos from my Etsy shop, or I'm making my malas or my magical soaps, or I am talking to people one-on-one about coaching or readings, and I'm putting this together, I'm gonna do it, and then your kid walks in the room and it derails everything, or your husband or your wife gets sick, or just something comes in and it fucks up the time that you had set aside, and you think, well, I'm just going to go and do this now. Obviously, today's not the day. How many of you are guilty of doing that? Been doing it every day this week. Don't do that. Bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And you are messing with a boundary when that happens. And I totally get it. Not all of us are perfect. And I'm getting lots of hearts and likes. Have you come into my house? Yeah, like, literally sometimes my coaching clients, because I move the camera so there's lighting, because the majority of the time it's at night, they'll see my door open because my husband's walking in the room. And I have to, like, out of the corner of my thing, wave my phone to be like, I will text you instead. Like, I'm not going to interrupt talking in order to talk to people. Or my toddler, for the longest time, we had to put up a baby gate so she would stop coming up to the door and knocking on it, wanting to come see me. Because I love her and I miss her, even though she's literally in the other room, but mommies need to work. Oh, like new puppies. Yes, puppies too. They come and scratch on the door and then they're like, I want lovings, but you have to work. You can't give lovings. So you give in to the cuteness instead of working. Not me. I'm guilty of being a workaholic. Oh, so that's another great point. How many of you, if you don't have a habit of letting things interrupt your time, of not letting yourself stop working until you get everything on your list done, or you forget to have a lunch break, or you say to yourself, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, or I need a drink of water, but I'm going to wait until I am done with my train of thought before I move. Or your kids are in bed, you've eaten, all that kind of stuff, and then you're working in the middle of the night to make your daily quota for money. How many of you do that? Like, give me hearts or likes. This is a no judgment environment, but I want to know where you're at. Let's see. Pamela said, I took photos yesterday for my Etsy shop. I'm trying to work on getting them into Canva, but have to be at the library since our internet is out at home. Plus, I have a to-do list of other things on that list, but yes, I get distracted. Yes. Okay. You meant working on your business every day. You put time set aside for it. Good. That's better, Caitlin. I'm glad you clarified that for me. Yeah, that's me too. Yeah, and honestly, we can break this down on a couple of different levels. Okay. Normally, if we want to talk about energy, because I love talking about energy, I love talking about chakra work. Especially if you've had a one-on-one call with me and you start the crying and everything, and I start getting the crying and stuff, that's because usually I'm talking to you about a block that we're working through. I do that often too. Also, okay, cool. So a lot of the times, based on psychologically where you're at. If you have a habit of either not letting yourself stop working, or if things invade your space and you just put it off till later, both of those are reminiscent of either an overactive or an underdeveloped root chakra. Okay? Overactive, then you're the one that's sitting there in your chair not letting yourself have your basic bodily needs, your basic survival needs taken care of until you feel safe enough to do so, which a lot of the time pushes you past your limit and pushes past your boundary of feeling good. If it's deficient, then you put it off till later until you feel like you can dedicate enough time for it because you don't feel safe enough in that moment to do it, right? So, and both of those are reminiscent of trauma. If the cup, like if we were to see our bodies as a physical cup, if the cup has holes in it and there's things flowing out, or if it's so tightly packed with stuff that it starts cracking, then our foundation isn't good and our root chakra is crap, right? Because you have to have a nice stable cup in order to hold the water from the sacral and then the fire from the solar plexus and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So those boundaries that we're talking about today, it's like if we were to take that cup and cover it in a gloss or to insulate it or put extra foundations on it. So if, like, for example, this is my old water bottle, right? This would be the regular foundation for the water bottle. It's plastic. It's super, it's a regular $5 water bottle. The foundation started crumbling on this because the inside, because I like telling stories and being visual, the rubber that's in here, it started coming out. And what happened, the water in here, anything that I would be drinking would start leaking. And it would get all over me. And it would be frustrating because I'm trying to drink this and it's getting all over me. Or I have that weird like 2-prong thing right there in the middle of the spout and I'm not getting as much as I want to and I don't feel as good. So what happens? I wouldn't drink as much water as I should. Even when I was on keto and everything and I was supposed to be regularly drinking water, I wouldn't do it. But then, because I realized the problem and I realized I needed a better foundation, and it took me a minute to get to this, I got myself a new water bottle that's much thicker. This thing's metal on the inside and it's insulated and it comes with this part that twists off and the top that twists off. So no leaking, no rubber where things can go through the cracks, and it's much sturdier and it insulates so much better than it does the other one. And I'm not saying that you need to completely change your business or completely change yourself and get yourself a new foundation. But I am saying you need to be like the creators of this water bottle that took a look at the other ones for the same price and said, how can we make this better? They created another boundary. They have metal and then they have the insulation because this thing can stay cold up to 24 hours. My husband's, which is much bigger than this, can stay cold up to 80 hours. Right? And I'm just thinking this now because we just got these like this weekend. Okay? So to give yourself a visual, right? And there are lots of ways that our boundaries can be compromised. And because of that, then we don't do that masculine action. We don't go do the thing that we're supposed to be doing. And then our feminine side is also out of whack because we're messing with ourselves energetically, right? So let me know if I have you so far, if you understood my funky, my funky metaphor. Let's see. Pamela says, I used to be a workaholic, but pain and illness stopped that. Yeah, and that's actually a good point. Even though I'm sorry that you're hurting, sometimes it literally takes our physical body, like our cup, to get mad at us and to hurt us. Well, not purposely, but for something like that to physically happen to ourselves in order to stop and give ourselves boundaries. Like this year, that's why part of the reason, like last week when I talked about my truth for this year, I learned a lot about boundaries because I'm one of those overactive root chakras. I'm one of those people that, in order to make myself feel safe, because I'm double Taurus and I want my pretty things all around me, if I don't have them, I overwork myself. When I get mad, I go clean. in order to not punch holes in the walls. That kind of thing. I overextend myself even when I'm exhausted. So sometimes our bodies make us shut down. Like when I got my kidney infection this year, and the doctor would not allow me to work for a week, even though it's work from home. It was bad. And my body literally made me shut down and take a vacation. So that's something that can happen too. Tracy says, I'm an all or nothing person, so I'm either distracted as hell and all over the place, or I'm so focused everything could blow up around me and I'm not budging till I'm getting the shit done. Yep. Hi, Denise. Denise says it makes sense. Awesome. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Judy. Let me know if you guys have questions as we go along too. So, the thing with boundaries for your business, this is where some mindset work comes in. This is where, because we've been shifting your perspective on how your time can be spent and seeing your time as money. Now you need to put boundaries around that. You have boundaries with the money you receive on where it will be spent, how much will be spent, and what it's going to be spent on, right? So like, for example, all last year and a little bit of this year, I've been on food stamps, being totally transparent. For those that don't know what that is, that's government assistance here in the United States. In order to get food for your family, you have to qualify, you have to give them evidence that you are working, things like that. And we were allotted a certain amount of money every single month in order to get food. We cannot go over that. And we have to meet their qualifications, otherwise we have to give the money back. So a big part of that boundary was making sure we didn't go over. And it was also making sure that little bit of money lasted throughout the entire month. So we had to put really clear boundaries on what we are spending our money on. Okay. And I approach the same thing when it comes to my business. Every day, because of how my life is and how things need to happen for me, I get off of my calls, I get off of my live streams, all that kind of stuff by 1 o'clock, because that's when my daughter has to go down for a nap. When she's older and in school, that might change. But as of this moment, because I would rather be that person where she sets her own schedule and she gets crabby as hell around 1 o'clock and she needs a nap, I stop working then. So that is my boundary. I do not work past that point. Or if there is an emergency or a special case, like I have clients that are on the opposite side of the world from me, and we got to meet late at night for me, then it's not until after she wakes up, right? And even next month, like next year, I'm going to be working with one of the local metaphysical shops. We're not doing anything until way after, like, she's awake, because I need to make sure that I have somebody to watch her. And that is a boundary that I have very clear. I'm not doing anything during that time she's asleep. Hi, Kat. So that leaves, if you have boundaries, if my boundary is to work from 9 a.m., sometimes 10 a.m., 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock every day, 4 times a week, what does that mean? Then I need to be very efficient with my time. The time that yesterday we decided my minimum time would be $97 an hour. If I have a freebie seeker, if I have someone who messages me for a free reading, they are wasting me $97 of my time that I could be doing somewhere else, that I could be making that money somewhere else. Or if I have someone book a call with me, because I love it when you guys book calls with me because I want to get to know you, and they don't show up, or they don't tell me ahead of time that there's an issue or things like that, and they purposely don't get on the phone, right? And it's not an accident and there wasn't a mix-up with the schedule and stuff like that, then that's $97 of my time that has gone out the window because I was waiting for them to get on. So you get very clear about what your boundaries are. It's like, that's when you put your filters up. So like, for example, my discovery calls, that's why I say if you're going to get on a call with me, you need to book your time and then you need to fill out the application so we save time. So we're not sitting there for 3 hours, which has happened before on the calls, right? And then nothing happens. Then we don't get anywhere and you don't get any blocks undone. and I can't help you with that, right? So we need to set those boundaries, because then that will help less people that aren't really ready for the work to happen, to come on. And then that'll help you make the most of the time that you do have with the people that want to talk to you, right? And this can make you feel a little bit like a bitch because then it gives you that kind of thought of, well, they're not good enough for my time. And that's not really what it is. It's you giving that boundary of, what am I going to do with my time? The time that I could be spending with this person or waiting for this person to get on the phone, I could schedule my whole month's worth of emails. I could schedule my whole month's worth of blog posts, or posts to put up in the Facebook group so I can take a vacation. So like this month, I scheduled all my stuff. I have a couple of days that is nothing but content creation, because my anniversary is on Yule. And I want to make sure that I'm not working that day. I want to spend time with my husband that day, and I want to spend time with our daughter. So I need to make sure that my time is used to the max, and I do what feels good during that time. Do I feel like being on calls today? Sure. Do I feel like being on the hotlines today? Maybe not, but I might do that kind of thing. So it's like, you need to be very clear with your boundaries and not allow people to go into them. And I want to give an example, because I use myself as an example, because I've done this stupid stuff and I don't want you to do what I did. It gives you, because you know how much your time is worth minimum now. What we calculated yesterday, you know what you're worth. Having firm boundaries in terms of readings, let's say, that includes the kind of readings that you choose to not do. Some people here, if they were to start a business, or they feel like they're starting a business now, don't want to do love readings. So that would be their boundary. They would tell people straight up, I do not do romance readings, or I don't do readings about cheating. Okay? Or if you're a coach and you say that you are a nutritionist, obviously someone that comes in that's talking about their finances, that's a boundary for you. Like, no, I only talk to you about nutrition. Like, your finances, go talk to a different coach. That's a clear boundary, and you need to stay within your realm in order to deliver the best content, in order to make yourself feel good, and so your clients know what the hell you're talking about, right? So another issue that sometimes I see with boundaries for this is, once you figure out what your worth is, and you want to be paid that, and it doesn't happen immediately, it doesn't happen within the first couple weeks or within the first month and things like that, then there's this impatience that happens, and then you see the readers that hop around. The readers are the coaches or the business owners, because this can happen with physical products too, that hop from one thing to the next. They sell tutus, and then they sell wine, and then they sell Avon, and then they sell H&R Block. They sell every little thing, and they change it up so frequently that nobody wants to buy from them, because there's not a clear, consistent message. You did not put up a boundary for the realm of which you can help people in, so they're not going to go to you. You're too wishy-washy. They don't know what your message is, right? If you change it every day, it makes it so hard to understand, like, are you actually going to help me, or are you just going to leave me in the dust when you change your niche again, right? So boundaries include making the most of your time, being very clear about how you're spending your time and when you are, and not letting anybody impact that. And then staying with it, being consistent. That is a boundary. Consistency is a boundary that you need to continue to go with. Let's see. Kat says, completely. I'm big on boundaries, and lost clients as they didn't like my boundaries. Yeah, sometimes, and that sucks. That sometimes really hurts you more than it hurts the client. When you have to divorce your clients because they don't respect your boundaries. So, like, example popping in my head. My first consistent reading client, I found her on the hotlines. She messaged me individually. She found my Facebook. And I met with her twice a month. It was supposed to be for an hour. A reading in any style that she wanted for $100 a month. And I talked to her like this for almost a year. But the problem was she didn't respect my boundaries. She lived on the other side of the world. So she would message me at 2 a.m. sometimes, multiple messages, freaking out on days that we weren't supposed to talk because she was freaking out. She didn't respect my time. She didn't respect my money boundaries. Like anytime I tried to up level her to pay more, nope, didn't want to do it. Not in the slightest. And our sessions included spells sometimes, they included meditations, they included tapping sessions, all kinds of stuff. I went above and beyond for this person because sometimes I needed that $100. Nope, didn't respect my stuff. And it hurt me probably than it hurt me more probably than it hurt her when I told her I can't do this anymore. Like, I release you, I hope you're doing awesome, but I can't work with you anymore like this because it's taking too much of my energy and you're not listening to me. And sometimes that happens. You got to be really firm with that when it comes to your clients or even potential clients. Kayla says, I don't like health readings. Okay, then you would put in your FAQs or you would tell somebody, I don't like doing health readings. If you go on my website just for my readings and my healings, modronlotusgarden.com, and you look at my FAQs, I straight up tell you, do you give me the lottery numbers? No. Do you give me health readings? I am not a licensed psychiatrist or a physician. Go see a doctor if you got problems with that. I will refuse to give you a reading otherwise. I will refuse to give you healing otherwise. All of this is for entertainment purposes. Boom! I'm not going to play around with that. Okay? Let's see. And like I said, this filters out the people that don't really want to work with you, that are just going to beat around the bush. This filters out the people that just want free stuff. Okay? This filters out those that aren't ready to do the work. Like maybe they really want to and they really have this great potential and it makes you mad because you're like, I want to work with you. I know you would be awesome. But they just aren't ready. Sometimes that happens, no matter what business you're in. Whether you're selling candles, like let's say you're selling candles and someone keeps coming to you saying that they want a discount. No. Because you know the amount of time that you put into stuff. And if they don't buy it, then they're just not ready to buy it. If they want it bad enough, they will come buy it. Just like someone that needs coaching, usually it's sad. It gets to that point where it's like they're in a freak out mode and they have no other option. That's usually when it breaks in and that's when they do the thing. But sometimes that needs to happen in order to get them to that next level. And then you can actually help them. Then they'll be able to listen to you and do the things. And the biggest thing about this and setting your boundaries is I want you to start really small. You don't have to think about your FAQs. You don't have to think about any of that complicated stuff. All you need to do is start thinking really small. So when it comes to this, first think about how you treat other people's boundaries, right? Are you the kind of person that gets impatient when someone doesn't answer you immediately? Do you send someone 15 messages because they haven't answered you on right on point and it's not really an emergency, you're just being impatient? Are you prone to sending more than one message or call to get someone's attention when they haven't answered you and probably don't want to talk to you, right? How often do you invade other people's boundaries? Pop that in the comments if you're willing to share that. Do you respect other people and let them have their space, or do you multiple message them because you want to get an answer immediately? Because this is really important. Because whatever you do, a lot of the times, is reflected in how other people approach you. And I want to reiterate, this is a no judgment space. Literally, that's how come a lot of the time for my readings, I'll read for anyone. Of course it did. I'll read for anybody because I honestly don't care. Like, it's your own life. I've had some really funky readings because of that. And I've had some really funky coaching sessions because of that. But it's, honestly, this is a safe space. I don't mind if you tell me. Okay. And if you don't want to say anything, that's fine. But I want you to think about that. If you're the kind of person that that acts either way, see if that reflects in how other people approach you. If you spam message people, do people do that to you as well? Or if you completely ignore people, do people completely ignore you? Okay, I try not to, but sometimes I do. Yeah, and that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but it's good that you have recognized that, because then that's something to heal, because that's when you start getting the clients that do that to you and it starts grating on you, then it's like we need to shift a perspective. What were we telling my Facebook crush? Oh, if you have a habit of spam messaging people when you want to get their attention, or if you make plans at the last minute or don't show, things like that. How are you with other people when you're making plans or you're trying to talk to them? Do you spam them or leave them alone, or what do you do with their boundaries? Kat says, consistency is what I need to work on, as I naturally like to change as the seasons change. Yeah. Yeah, and that can sometimes mess with people. That, like, if you're super fluid, if at the last minute you're like, not so much. I don't feel like I want to do this now. When it comes to a business, you can't really do that. You got to be really on point with what you're doing, no matter how much money you make each month. If you don't show up consistently, even when nothing is happening, nothing's going to happen. You got to keep going, right? And that's how that word of mouth happens that all of us like to talk about. That word of mouth of people recommending their friends to come talk to you because you were such an amazing coach or reader or whatever. By consistently showing up, you have to do that. Let's see. Caitlin says, usually I keep my word. It bugs me to flake out on people because I hate that when they do that for me. I pull through and do it anyway. Good. Wonderful. Kat says, 1 minute I'll be vibrating witchy and then I'm really light. Yeah. Yeah, and when that happens, there's a good level, there's a positive level of that and a negative level of that. If that is a part of your personality, and let's say one day you show up wearing all pink, and then the next day you're all black, fine, that's you. But there's a difference between showing up and being so persistent that you're bugging everyone versus the next day not doing anything at all and not answering anything. There's a difference, right? I'm bad at last minute plans. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can't stand them either, Stephanie. Like, let's plan this now and then let's go forward. Tracy says, I used to be like that in all my relationships because I felt insecure and needed to feel liked and accepted. But now, since working on that for the past 4 years on self-love and knowing myself and meeting my own want and needs, now I found my boundaries are better with other people and I am way more respectful of other people too. Yes. Yeah. I noticed that too. I used to be that person because I'm mad, so I'm going to say the thing and I'm going to message you a billion times. Whereas now, I'm learning. Well, I've always been that person of we need our own spaces. Sometimes I don't want to be around you, and sometimes, as much as I like to talk, I don't like talking. Like, there are literally sometimes I just want to sit in silence and I don't use my voice because of how much I used to use it all the time. So I'm very big on, even in my relationships, us having our spaces. I will check in on you once a day. I'm horrible at texting, but I'll check in on you. And I'll say hello, and I hope you're doing awesome, and I hope you know that I'm still here and I care. I'm just busy as a motherfucker. With my husband and I, he has his day of the week where he can be without the kid because he's with her all the time because I'm working. And then there's days of the week where I go off by myself and I'm not around anyone because I get cooped up in the house because I'm always working. So when you give those boundaries and you start practicing them in your day-to-day life, it helps break the habit with how you treat other people in their relationships and what they can handle for their boundaries, and it helps set really good boundaries for you. So that's really your thing today, because the workbook today goes over listing out your pet peeves when it comes to time. So, like, give me a couple things in the comments. What are your biggest pet peeves about other people wasting time? I know me, I'm the person that gets ready 4 hours early, and I leave and I get there 15 minutes early. Like, I am always early because that's me. I don't like wasting my time. That's how come usually I start early for my live streams. That's why I usually start early for my coaching calls, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. If I'm late, there was a problem. But typically I'm early because I don't like it when people are late. That's a pet peeve of mine. When it comes to time, I don't like it when I have to repeat myself, because that's a trauma of mine, is needing to repeat myself when people obviously heard me. Because I get it the first time, but that's my brain. So sometimes, especially if I have to repeat something 15 times, that's a waste of time and that's a waste of my energy, and I don't like doing that. That's a quick way to make me mad. That's a time thing for me. Let me know what some of your stuff is. Let's see. Caitlin says, my best friend will respond in 3 to 5 business days. That's how she is, and I know that, and I'm okay with that because she's actually consistent in that way. Yeah, and it's like, it depends. Or that's how come I try to be like, and we're going to talk about this in a second. I'm skipping ahead. Let me write that down, though, so I don't forget it. Okay. Denise says, I prefer to be 1 hour earlier than 1 minute late. Yes. And I have an issue with people who don't keep their word. I get really mad. I feel that. Same. Yep. That's how come even the metaphysical shop that I'm going to be working with next year here in the Springs, I showed up 45 minutes early. Because I wasn't sure how traffic was going to be, how my car was going to be. I'm like, I'm going to leave early, just in case. And I got there super early, but that was fine. I got home early. Now, what are some other pet peeves? Because all of them are super valid. It's like, do you get irritated about constantly being reminded of how much longer you have left? Do you have issues with people hitting the snooze button? Because that technically is a time waster. I know one big thing for me right now is when someone tells me that they need something or they do a lot to get my attention and then they don't say anything or do anything. This has really come out with my toddler because we're still in the midst of getting her completely on potty training. She'll be mom, 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 like over and over and over again. And it gets on my nerves because it's that repeating thing. Don't repeat things to me. And then she says, I gotta go potty. And she says it 15 times. We get in there, she sits and she does nothing. That's a waste of time for me. That makes me mad. That makes me livid, and I try to remember. She's 2, she's learning. She thinks it's funny. It's not funny, but patience. I'm trying to think. The other thing that messes with me for time is when I am on a train of thought and I get interrupted. Like someone says something or toddler goes, mom, 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 and then I can't remember it. That makes me so mad because then I can't continue my thought and I waste time standing there, not saying anything, and getting angrier because I can't remember my train of thought. Let's see. Caitlin says, there's a shop there. I need the address so my brother can shop for me. Yeah, it's Mountain Metaphysical off of Colorado and 16th Street down near Manitou. And then there's another one, Celebration Metaphysical off of Garden of the Gods. Not the park, the street. There's 2 different things. But yes, that's what those are, Caitlin. But I will be reading at Mountain Metaphysical, and I'll be doing weekly goddess walk meditations. Yep. Denise says, yes, just in case I know the feeling. Caitlin says, I hate when people say that they don't sleep in because it wastes their day, but they will play video games for 4 hours. But okay. I can see how that would be valid for you, yeah. The thing, well, I'm also coming at this from a gamer perspective. I understand that some people have different ways of spending their time, right? For me, I wake up at least an hour early so I can journal. But sometimes, like especially, I've noticed for meditation for me, I need to do something very monotonous because that'll get me my downloads. Not all the time can I sit there and meditate because I'm big on meditating in easy ways. Sometimes sitting there and oming for 5 minutes it's not easy for me. So I turn on a game. Like I'll start playing a video game. For me, that is mindless. I'll play sandbox games like The Sims or Stardew Valley. Right now I'm on a Don't Starve kick again. I love Don't Starve. I know every part of that game. It's hard, but it gets me in that meditative state and I can feel the downloads coming in because I'm focusing on something monotonous. So it doesn't do that for me. So it helps me. That's my daily meditation sometimes. Like my husband, he doesn't do the sandbox games. He does the fighting games because he was #1 in the world for Tekken, playing Armor King in the United States. I think it was like 4 years ago. And they just released Armor King again, so his meditation is sitting there playing Armor King over and over and over and over again. So it depends on the person. I can see that perspective, but it does depend on the person, yeah. Tracy says, I don't mean to be, but I can make a living off of being late. I'm awful with it. I try so hard, but I live on a farm and my life is so unpredictable at times with animals. And so because I hate being late and I feel so bad about it, it happens so often, I just don't make plans anymore at all. Okay. So then to help with that, you, instead of giving precise times, perhaps you need to give yourself like an hour time span. Like between this time and this time, this is where I'll be. Or between this time and this time, this is what happens, right? That might be something to help with that peeve. Karen says, I don't like people wasting my time, not showing up, but Taekwondo, my husband teaches. Cool. And only a handful of people sent a message to say they weren't coming, but we drove to their village and stood waiting around for the rest and they didn't show. Yeah. It's especially, it wastes the time that you could have been doing elsewhere. Absolutely. I totally get that. Denise, yes, I do. Husband hits the effing snooze button 1,000,000 times. Just get up on the first. Yeah, I totally get that. And I know it's an example. I know it's an example, and it's just like, ugh. It drives me a little nuts, too. Rebecca says, being late for myself, especially with other people late meeting me. Yeah. Exactly. Setting that expectation. It's kind of So then we would think to ourselves, do you do any of those things? Instead of maybe, as another example, because we talked about video games for a second, instead of sitting there for 4 hours for video games, do you scroll through Facebook for 4 hours instead of working on your business? Or do you journal for 4 hours instead of doing the things that you're journaling about? Or do you read instead of spending time with your family? And you want your break, but you also know you want to nurture other people, so you choose you, and then it makes you feel guilty and all that kind of stuff. So if we assess what we don't like, then that gives a little bit of a shadow work moment to see if we do it. Because a lot of the times we attract clients that are like us at some point. Every person that is attracted to you for a reading or a product or something is coming to you because you feel like you've been where they are and you can get them out of it because they feel like you're past it, right? So that's how come for the past year or so that I've had this group, we focused on learning divination because that's where I was. And now starting a business, getting your first client, that's where I was. And I'm using myself as an example so then we can move forward and I can help you because I've been there, right? So think to yourself with your pet peeves, have you been at that place where you've done these things and now you don't like it because you understand how that feels, right? Forget that one. Oh my God, even Facebook gets me every damn time. Yeah, no scrolling. Don't do it. Unless we see it as we're nurturing, we're using market research. It's like, no, you're really not. You're just scrolling, looking at funny videos. I watch cooking videos and I share them to my husband, or I look at whatever memes he's posting, and it's a time waster. Tracy says, my biggest pet peeve of all is lying and saying you're going to do something and then you don't, because I'm a person of my word. When I say I'm do something, I do it no matter what it takes. It seriously irks me. Yes, absolutely. It's that consistency. It's that lack of integrity. Don't say you're going to do the thing and then don't do the thing. Or don't tell someone not to do the thing and then you go off and do it. Then it's like the Beastie Boys. It's like, Pop caught me smoking, and he says, no way, but that hypocrite smokes 2 packs a day. Like, like you don't do that. People don't trust you then. And trust is a huge part of owning your business. And trusting yourself to show up and trusting the other person to show up too. Okay. Haha, we have 11 people in here. Ha master numbers. So, here's another thing that could be something to think about. Because remember, this whole thing of time is money, right? What are your biggest pet peeves about others wasting money? This one can be a little harder. Or this one can bring up some tears and some wounds, because we think that people with money just spend it freely and don't care about other people's time. Perhaps they buy something and then, like, they buy a really expensive meal and then they don't eat it all, and they don't donate, or they're so busy with making money that they don't have time for other people, that kind of thing. So what are your biggest pet peeves about others wasting money that they've accumulated, or even just pet peeves with people and money? Rebecca says, I used to get lost in scrolling through Facebook when I woke up in the morning, but my dog would stick his nose in the phone to get me off, and he trained me not to do that. Yes. I hate that editing videos and making listings for Etsy and whatnot takes 4 times as long as I think it should, or that I want it to take. That's something. So you work on your business and it takes so much longer than you wanted it to, and you get mad at yourself for not finishing your to-do list. Caitlin, I don't have money to buy your products, but I will spend 5 hours at the bar. So it's a matter of, it's not that I don't have the money, it's that I don't have the urgency to buy this right now. P.S. I'm totally multitasking while listening to this live. This is my window of work time before I have to go to work with my children. That's okay. So yay for me sticking in and doing some work while getting insights about working. Yes! Tracy, you just called me out on my issues. That's why I'm so irked by that, because I'm not consistent with my business. I don't show up. I have amazing ideas and lots of gifts and talents to share, but for whatever reason, I'm not showing up and sharing my gifts with the world. Yeah. If you do the thing you don't like, and you don't like other people doing it, that's probably why. Because it's usually a reflection of you. Think about bullying. Usually people bully, or they pick at someone else because they are an example of what they don't like about themselves. And a lot of the times it gets really bad, and it can get violent, and it can cause mental health issues and suicides and things. That's at an extreme level, that all these people pick on one person, because they house something that they feel insecure about, or they house a habit that they don't like, that because it's not what they have, right? Otherwise we would admire them. Same thing with your business. All the people that you idealize and that you look up to, and you're like, man, I wish I could be like that. We forget that they're just people too, and all they have is the opposite of the bad habits we do, right? If you have a habit of showing up and not doing anything, the person you probably idealize probably shows up every day and busts their butt, because that's their only option too, right? Just as something to think about. Halen says, just tell me you'd rather spend it on that instead. I'm less offended if you tell me the truth than lying to me. Okay, so let's think about that then, because honestly, that is the top, I don't want to say excuse. Like, we're rephrasing our wording so that it's not as hateful or hate-filled. That is the top reason why people don't sign up for anything or they don't buy things. They say that they don't have the money because that's the easiest way to tell someone no without hurting their feelings. Think of it like that. If someone that you really care about and that you idolize messages you or sends you an email, things like that, and you know that they genuinely want to help you and they really have the ability to work with you and are willing to go all out for you, but there's that fear of, am I actually going to show up and do all the work? So are you afraid of you being consistent and committing? I'm afraid that I don't have all the time to do it. And I have the money, but I don't know if I I have the ability to get the money. Maybe the money's not in your bank account. Maybe you have the ability to get it. But I don't want to hurt this person's feelings because they probably want to know right now if I can invest at this second. So I'm going to tell them I don't have the money just so they will stop asking me and I don't have to keep feeling guilty. Have any of you ever had that train of thought? I know I have. Because that's when you get into that repeat of using up all the free things, signing up for all the free things, doing all the free things, and then they get shoved in the back of your computer and you never do them again, right? Or you print them out and you try to do the work and then you just don't do it. Or you forget about it. Yes, yeah. It's a reflection. The people doing this to you is a reflection of how you do that to other people. There's a difference between I don't have the money for this, or I'm sorry, I'm broke, because you just want to end the conversation, versus I don't have the money right now, but I'm willing to get it. How long do I have until I can make the investment? Or you can say, you know what, honestly, I'm not feeling this program. I don't think you're the coach for me, or I don't think this candle is the right thing for me. Whatever you're selling, I don't think it's for me. And I'm just not liking the vibe. So I'm going to say no, but I appreciate you reaching out. Those are a lot harder to say and be honest about than to tell someone, I don't have the money, sorry. Right? It makes you feel less guilty. Yep, Denise says, don't say that you don't have the money or you're claiming it and sooner or later it will manifest. Then exactly. Say, you know what? I don't physically have it right now, but I'll get it. Every coach I've ever worked with, I never had the money. Ever. My first coach was an Etsy coach. I didn't have the money to work with her. In fact, some months I had to message her and be like, hey, can I pay 2 months in advance? Because I don't know if next month I'll have it. Can I do your lowest payment plan? Because I know that I can do that one and I will show up and I'll make sure that I do it because I really need this. And they're willing to work with you as long as you say it. Or my last coach. Yeah, I worked with her. There are some months where I would message her and be like, hey, I want to pay you a little bit early because I don't know if I'm going to have it. I don't trust myself to still hold on to this money by the time that the payment goes through, right? I constantly check in on my coaches and make sure that they are getting the payments I send them because I want to make sure that we're good, right? So just be consistent with yourself. Be honest. And it feels scary and it makes you feel like shit, but be honest about it. Don't say that you don't have the money. Say, I'll go get it even though I don't have it at this exact moment. Or, you know what, I'm not feeling the vibe. I really don't want this. Okay, fine. At least you're honest, then they'll leave you alone. Yes, but that's what I'd rather hear. Yeah, so if that's what you want to hear, then start saying that to other people. The next time someone reaches out to you, say, I'd rather not. I don't think so. I think I want to get to know you a little more, or I don't quite trust you as much yet, so I want to give it some time. Okay, that's fine. They can help with that. I know I can help with that. That's so much better, right? And it shows a little bit of bravery on your part for being honest like that. So shift your wording. And the thing that I had to write down was don't apologize for your boundaries. Okay? A part of your boundaries involves the language you use, like we just kind of talked about. Instead of saying, oh, I can't do that, say, perhaps I will be able to do that, but at the moment I'm not investing the time in it. Keep it open. It's like we're doing a tarot reading. Keep it open so the cards can give you some insight, right? One thing that I have noticed has helped tremendously in my own boundaries is if instead of saying, I'm sorry I'm late, or I'm sorry but you can't do that, I say, I appreciate you waiting for me. I appreciate you working with me while I try and figure this out. I appreciate the time that you've given with me, and I hope that I hope I can support and serve you in the best way I can. Shift it from I'm sorry and beating yourself up with that kind of language to I appreciate you, fill in the blank. Don't self-deprecate yourself. So if you notice your boundaries are shit, say, I appreciate you really accepting my boundary for not doing this. And I appreciate you letting me know that it did work for you or it didn't work for you. Right? Shift your language. It'll help you tremendously in creating some wonderful boundaries, and it'll start attracting people that actually want to work with you. Right? So, who has questions with this? Right? Who's got questions? Because all today for the workbook that I have for you guys, it's about setting new intentions. We're going to word it, we're going to make it really good, and we're going to pay very close attention to our own habits and start flipping them so that we can actually put some good stuff out there, right? Because a part of that mindset of attracting the right people and doing the right inspired actions is about noticing our own bad habits. Okay, I got hearts and likes. Does anyone have questions? I'm here to serve and support you. And a part of this also is listening and figuring out the boundaries that you have. And a part of what I'd like to do, just as a reminder, because I'd like to invite everybody that's been doing this to this. We still have 2 spots open for that 6-week program, the 6-week Psychic Biz Starter Program. It's $300, like flat out, or there's payment plans. We start that on the 3rd, but we've got 2 spots left. So I'd like to give an invitation to everyone here to come and join us for that, because I know Tracy's in it. I have everybody literally on a sticky note. There it is. Tracy's in it, Stephanie's in it, Paula's in it, and Lauren's in it. So we have 4 of our people. We got 2 more spots left. So if you would like to come join us, I'm extending the invitation. And if you don't want to, straight up tell me. Say, no, thank you, not right now. Cool. Thank you. If you do, then let me know and I'll shoot you a message. I keep messing with the water bottle. Also, today then, a part of your boundaries, when you set your new intentions, put them somewhere. Like, literally, I've got a sticky note right underneath my camera so that whenever I do coaching calls or whenever I do my lives, like all this week I'm doing lives, I can see my intentions below it. And I can see there's something I want to invest in that I have on the sticky note. And I've put it right under there. So every time I see it, it reaffirms it for me. Or on my computer, I have all the time in the world right next to my mouse pad. The names of all my people, put them right here. If people do invest with you and you love them, they have wonderful boundaries with you and they respect you, put them on your wall. Like literally every person I've invested in or that has invested in me, all your names are on the wall and you got little hearts next to them. Yay, my amazing clients. It's right there. Okay. So celebrate those who do your boundaries and do your sticky notes. If you have intentions, go put sticky notes on your bathroom mirror. And then when you get up in the morning and brush your teeth and do your makeup or do whatever the hell your ritual is, you can read it. Karen, using language is better using language better is definitely helpful for me. Absolutely. I'm glad that's really helpful. Absolutely. So, a part of today, just to reiterate, set your intentions, put them somewhere where you can see them. Okay? Like I've got sticky notes everywhere. I've got another pack right here. And then go spend your money allotment for today. Today, you're supposed to spend $10,000 in whatever your currency is. 10,000 monies in whatever your currency is. So that means you need to spend it on you and your betterment. Majority of it needs to be spent on you and your self-care and your betterment. So a vacation or massages, or maybe it's crystals, or maybe it's subscription boxes, like a year's worth of subscription boxes. You can absolutely do that. This could be a maid or a nanny or date nights, whatever it is, a retreat, whatever you want to do. If you need ideas, we have the Eternal Fire Retreat. Our ticket is $2,700. You can buy a ticket to our retreat. So whatever it is, make sure you spend $10,000 today. And this is about the point where I would be like, what did I spend my $10,000 on? This is the point where I would like buy a car, because having new cars is always wonderful. This is super far back. You could buy a vacation. Let's see, $10,000. I bought a new computer. I went and got some pictures taken. I got some new notebooks, all kinds of stuff. You can get all kinds of stuff with $10,000. Car, petrol, meals out, and good company. Yeah! Absolutely. That totally works. Yeah, so whatever you spend it on, you could even spend it on a tattoo. I know a couple of people get tattoos. Go spend your money and go have fun. I really love reading through everybody's stuff. It's making me so happy. And I get, like I said, I could feel the shifting happening because you're actually spending money on you. This is about the part where people might start getting stuck. Be sure to go look through everyone else's posts and see if you get inspiration for things to buy, because it'll really, really help. Tracy said, I had a really hard time with $100. So much resistance. The 1,000, there was quite a bit of resistance. Like you said, 10,000, and I have it spent in my head in a flash. Why would that be? Yeah, so that is very interesting. Sometimes that can happen if you have little amounts of money like that. You immediately think of bills, or you think of like fixing your car, or things that could be immediate for you. Like $1,000 would be wonderful to have in your savings. If you follow the Dave Ramsey method, like the total money makeover that takes care of your finances, literally the first thing he has is to put $1,000 in your savings. And that would take care of it. So it can be really hard because that feels like such smaller money. But if you do $10,000, then you get to dream a little bit more. Also, you're going to notice with $100, you can spend that very quickly. $1,000, you can spend that quickly. But because you already bought the things, as you get bigger and bigger amounts of money, then you've already taken care of the things that you immediately want. So you daydream a little bit more. You Google a little more, explore a little bit more. And it helps you relax a bit. And then by the time you get to $1 million, you might get stuck and realize there's nothing else that I really, really want. That's when you need to ask your partner for help and be like, how much is a jet? Like, how much is a boathouse? Like, that kind of thing. Just to explore a little bit. Like, I think when I first played this, the $1 million went towards a small villa in Italy, because I always want my villa. And it has the vineyard, and it has the workers on it, and all kinds of stuff. So it absolutely can. Karen says, there's a course for 5,000 pounds that I've wanted to do for ages. I'd pay off my car and have some left for essential oils. Yeah, absolutely. And when I say betterment, yeah, you can definitely do a course. You can do books. You could buy all of the Artist's Way books that I preach so much, okay? All of the Tamed Wild stuff, you could go on their website and get all the stuff. Like Anna yesterday, she grabbed the Wild Moon deck that I use for the Moon Sister Circle. She grabbed these. And I think one of the times that I did this for myself, I actually went on and bought this using the universal money, and the next month I have enough money to go get it. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. Oh yeah, and share them in the group. I want to see if you get stuck. Tag me. I will help you. If you are brave enough and you want to share your new intentions to give some inspiration or to support your other people in sharing their intentions, go for it. I'm watching in the group. I'm always here. So I hope then everyone has a fabulous day. I'm going to set my boundary and go have some lunch right now. And I shall see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to stop using time as an excuse when it comes to your business. We're going to talk about balancing your entire life so you can, in fact, do your business and get away from the 9 to 5 and have enough time for your friends and family and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. And I shall be seeing you all soon. Bye.